Welcome to Professor Explain 101, where we take ordinary human behavior and explore the extraordinary psychology beneath it. Today's reflection is one of the deepest we've ever done. Everything about yourself you should know. There's a strange paradox about being human. We spend our entire lives with ourselves, yet many of us never truly meet the person living inside. We know our favorite foods, our job titles, our childhood stories, but beneath all that, there's a vast inner landscape waiting to be understood. This episode isn't surface-level motivation. It's about peeling back the layers of who you really are. Your mind, your emotions, your fears, your habits, your inner child, your shadow, and your silent strengths. So take a deep breath. Let's meet the person behind your face. Section 1. The Layers of the Self. You are not a single thing. You are a collection of selves layered like an onion, each with a different voice. First, the outer self. This is the version the world sees. Your name, your titles, the way you speak in public, the opinions you've learned to repeat. This outer self is trained to fit, to belong, to be accepted. Second, the inner self. The quiet narrator who watches your life unfold. It notices the tug of sadness no one else sees. It asks the question you sometimes avoid, why do I act this way? And third, the core self. The part of you that existed before you learned who you were supposed to be. It doesn't care about appearances. It only wants truth, meaning, and peace. Psychologists call this self-integration. Philosophers call it knowing thyself. Whatever you call it, it begins when you pause long enough to observe the voices inside without judging them. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? What emotions do I pretend not to feel? What dreams have I silenced just to stay safe? The first step to self-knowledge is honesty. Not moral honesty, but psychological honesty. The courage to see yourself without the filter of ego or fear. Because before you can change your life, you must first meet the person living it. Section 2. The mind's hidden scripts. Much of what we call personality is just a collection of mental scripts, stories written long ago, often by someone else. Maybe your parents taught you love must be earned. Maybe school taught you failure defines worth. Maybe society whispered that productivity equals value. These scripts run quietly in the background, shaping your choices without asking permission. When you say, I can't help it, that's just who I am, you might really mean, that's the program I've been running. Cognitive psychology calls this schema theory, mental templates that interpret reality. Change the schema, and your world looks different. So how do you rewrite your scripts? Start by listening to your thoughts. The next time you feel anxious, ask yourself, what story am I believing right now? Is it the story that says, I'm not good enough? Or the one that says, people will leave me if I show the real me? Then, challenge it. Replace I'm not enough with I'm still growing. Replace I'm unlovable with I'm learning to love myself first. These aren't fake affirmations. They're new instructions for the subconscious mind, stories written in compassion, not fear. Your mind is like a computer. You can't delete old code by ignoring it. You override it by installing truth. Even a small new thought, repeated over time, rewires the system. Slowly, quietly, powerfully. So live intentionally. Listen to your mind. Question its stories. Give it truer stories to run. Section 3. Emotion, the language of the subconscious. Every emotion is a message, not a mistake, not an intruder, a message. Yet we treat emotions like errors to be fixed. We hide anger, fear, sadness, and perform happiness. But emotions are the language of the subconscious mind. Its way of saying what logic cannot. When you feel anxious, your inner self is whispering, something feels unsafe. When you feel jealous, it's saying there's a desire you haven't honored. When you feel guilt, it may mean you acted against your values. Emotions become toxic only when you refuse to listen, because suppressed emotions never disappear. They migrate into your body, into your habits, into your fatigue. The body keeps the score because the mind refuses to read it. So when emotion rises, don't run. Sit with it. Name it. Ask, what are you trying to tell me? That's not weakness. It's fluency in the language of your own soul. Feelings don't want control. They want acknowledgement. Give them space to speak, and they'll stop shouting. Section 4. The shadow you avoid. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The shadow is the part of you that holds everything you've rejected: anger, envy, pride, vulnerability. We push these traits away because we were told they're bad. But the shadow isn't evil, it's unlived life. When you deny your shadow, it controls you in secret. When you face it, it becomes your teacher. Think about the people you judge most harshly. Often, what you hate in others is what you fear in yourself. That's projection, the mirror the universe uses to show you your shadow. Healing begins when you stop running from reflections. Ask yourself, what parts of me make me uncomfortable? What memories do I pretend never happened? What emotions do I label wrong? Integrating the shadow doesn't mean acting on every dark impulse. It means understanding where those impulses come from and choosing consciously instead of reacting automatically. You are both light and dark, strength and fragility, wisdom and chaos. Wholeness isn't perfection, it's reconciliation. Section 5. Identity, stories we tell ourselves. Identity is a story, often written in a hurry. We collect labels: student, parent, shy, confident, anxious, brave. Labels can be useful. They help the mind organize experience. But they can also become prisons. When you say, I'm always like this, you stop allowing change to happen. Identity should be flexible, not fixed. Try adding a small phrase to your self-talk. I am, and I am capable of change. Your past is a teacher, not a tyrant. The stories you tell about yourself can always be rewritten. Replace "I've always been this way" with "I'm learning something new about myself every day." Over time, that small shift in language creates a large shift in being. Section 6. The Self in Relationships. We learn who we are through others. Relationships are mirrors, reflecting what we believe we deserve. If you often attract people who disrespect you, it's not because you like pain. It's because part of you still believes you must earn love. Every relationship, good or bad, is a classroom for self-understanding. Ask yourself, what part of me feels triggered by this person? What boundary am I afraid to set? What lesson is this experience teaching me about myself? Healthy connection begins when you stop outsourcing your self-worth. Love from others cannot replace love from within. When you know yourself, you stop using people as mirrors and start meeting them as equals. Section 7. Habits, Rituals, and the Daily Self. Your daily habits reveal more about you than your best intentions, because identity lives in repetition. What you read, what you eat, how you respond to notifications, these are the bricks that build yourself. If you want to change who you are, start by changing what you do every day. Choose one small ritual that reflects the person you want to be. Maybe 5 minutes of silence. Maybe journaling. Maybe speaking kindly to yourself. Tiny acts, repeated daily, rewire the mind and redefine the self. Consistency, not intensity, creates transformation. Section 8. Purpose, Meaning, and Motivation. Purpose doesn't always arrive like lightning. Often, it's quiet, a gentle pull toward what matters. Ask yourself, what gives me energy? What would I do, even if no one noticed? Motivation flows when your actions match your values. So define your values clearly and let them guide your choices. Purpose isn't about being famous or perfect. It's about alignment. Living in a way that feels real. When you live with meaning, even small days feel full. Section 9. Resilience, Failure, Loss, and the Self. Failure is not an end. It's feedback. Loss reshapes us, painfully sometimes, beautifully sometimes. Resilience isn't bouncing back fast. It's bending without breaking. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to rest. Then ask, what did this experience teach me about who I am? Every challenge leaves behind a hidden gift. Patience, empathy, strength, or humility. Life isn't testing you, it's teaching you. Section 10. Growth, Acceptance, and Wholeness. Self-knowledge is not a destination. It's a daily practice. You'll never fully arrive, but you can learn to live with clarity instead of confusion. True growth isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before fear took over. Forgive the versions of yourself that didn't know better. Thank them. They kept you alive long enough to grow. You're not broken. You're unfolding. Closing reflection. Meeting yourself.
So what does it really mean to know yourself? It means waking up with curiosity instead of judgment, observing your thoughts like clouds, feeling your emotions without drowning in them, seeing your shadow without shame. It means realizing you are not the story, you are the storyteller. And maybe, for the first time, you finally meet the one person who has been there all along, yourself. This has been Professor Explain 101, where we take ordinary human behavior and explore the extraordinary psychology beneath it. Remember, self-knowledge isn't self-obsession, it's self-liberation. Because when you understand yourself, you understand the world. Thank you for listening.